The math section on the SAT is always changing. A video that may have worked a year ago is now useless. So in this video, I'm going to go over every section of SAT Math and everything you need to know for your test in 2026, including the absolute cheat code that Desmos provides. Let's just get the basics out of the way coming from a 770+ test taker. The SAT Math section is 2 modules, 35 minutes each, 70 minutes total. You get 22 questions per module for 44 questions in total. Now let's get into what you actually need to know. Algebra is the backbone of this test. It makes up roughly 1/3 of the questions you'll see. So if you nail this section and are confident in your algebra skills, you're already in a strong position. Let's break it down. Linear equations and inequalities. This is the foundation of everything. You need to be able to solve for x in any equation like 3x plus 7 equals 22. Subtract 7, divide by 3, done. But the SAT won't just hand it to you that cleanly. They love wrapping simple algebra inside word problems. Something like, a gym charges a $25 sign-up fee plus $40 per month. If Marcus has $225, how many months can he afford? You set up the equation, 25 plus 40 MEM equals 225. Solve for M and you get 5 months. That's it. The math isn't hard, but you must have the skill to recognize the setup. For inequalities, the same rules apply. But remember, when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the inequality sign. They will test you on this. Systems of equations. You will see systems of equations on every single SAT. 2 equations, 2 unknowns, and you have 2 main methods for solving them: substitution and elimination. Stack the equations and add or subtract to cancel out a variable. For example, 2x plus y equals 10 and x minus y equals 2. Add them together, the y cancels. You get 3x equals 12, so x equals 4, then y equals 2. Slope-intercept and linear relationships. You absolutely must know y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. The SAT will give you 2 points and ask for the equation of the line, or give you a graph and ask you to interpret what the slope represents in context. Slope is rise over run. If a line passes through 1, 3, and 4, 9, the slope is 9 minus 3 over 4 minus 1 equals 6/3 equals 2. They also test parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals. So if one slope is 2, the perpendicular slope is -1/2. And for the last of algebra, absolute value questions show up occasionally, and students overcomplicate them. The absolute value of x just means the distance from 0. So absolute value of x minus 3 equals 7 means x minus 3 equals 7, or x minus 3 equals -7. You get x equals 10 or x equals -4. That's the whole concept. Watch for absolute value inequalities. Absolute value of x less than 5 means x is between -5 and 5. Advanced math. Advanced math is the other heavyweight on this test. And this is where the SAT separates the 600 scorers from the 750+ scorers. Quadratics. Quadratics are everywhere on the SAT. You need to know 3 forms: standard form, factored form, and vertex form. You need to be able to convert between these forms, and you need to know the quadratic formula, especially the discriminant part, b squared minus 4ac. This tells you everything about the number of solutions. A positive discriminant equals 2 real solutions. 0 equals 1 solution. And negative equals no real solutions. Exponents and radicals. If you want to test highly on the SAT, you must know these exponent rules. Pause the video so you can read them. The SAT loves testing whether you can simplify expressions using these rules. Pretty much they'll give you something ugly and expect you to clean it up. Next are polynomials. You should be comfortable adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. The SAT might also ask about the relationship between factors and zeros. If x minus 5 is a factor of a polynomial, then x equals 5 is a 0, meaning the graph crosses the x-axis at that point. You should also know a polynomial of degree n has at most n roots, so a cubic can cross the x-axis up to 3 times. They'll show you a graph and ask how many real solutions the equation has, so in this case, just count the x-intercepts, exponential functions, and growth/decay. The general form is y equals a times b to the power of x. If b is greater than 1, it's exponential growth. If b is between 0 and 1, it's exponential decay. And a is the initial value. They usually test population growth or compound interest word problems with exponentials, so just look out for that. Functions and function notation. If f of x equals 2x plus 5, then f of 3 equals 2 times 3 plus 5, which equals 11. Simple substitution. But the SAT gets tricky with composite functions. F of g of x means you plug g of x into f, and they'll test function transformations. F of x plus 2 shifts up 2, f of x minus 3 shifts right 3. Negative f of x reflects over the x-axis. F of negative x reflects over the y-axis. Know these and you should be fine. Trigonometry and geometry. This section is smaller, usually around 5 to 7 questions, but it's free points if you know the basics as the test doesn't go too deep into trig. Right triangle trigonometry. This is the big one. For any right triangle, you must remember the 3 functions and their side angle relationships that are currently on screen. You should know how to convert between degrees and radians. 180 degrees equals pi radians. So to convert degrees to radians, multiply by pi over 180. To go from radians to degrees, multiply by 180 over pi. The most difficult part of dealing with the trigonometry section are the circles, which may need their own video. If you would like to see that, comment below. Probability and statistics. Ratios, rates, and proportions. If you can cross-multiply, you can handle most of these. If 3 shirts cost $45, how much do 7 shirts cost? Set up 3 over 45 equals 7 over x. Cross-multiply, solve. The SAT will dress these up in word problems, but the underlying math is always a proportion. Percentages. The SAT loves asking, by what percent did something change? So knowing the percentage change formula to solve these problems is important. Also know how to solve a question like, what is 30% of 200? This is easily solvable by doing 0.30 times 200, which equals 60. Mean, median, and standard deviation. Mean is the average, add everything up, divide by the count. Median is the middle value when the data is ordered. If there's an even number of values, average the 2 middle ones. Standard deviation measures how far apart the values are. This can easily be done with Desmos, which we will show later. Two-way tables. Two-way tables, also called contingency tables, show up on almost every SAT. They organize data into categories. You need to be able to read them, find totals, and calculate probabilities when a question asks. Scatter plots and lines of best fit. The SAT will show you a scatter plot and ask about the trend, the line of best fit, or what a specific point represents. Positive association means as one variable increases, so does the other. Negative association means one goes up, the other goes down. They might ask you to solve for the equation of the line of best fit. This basically means that of the options they gave you, which most accurately represents the data. The Desmos cheat code. Here's where we talk about the biggest advantage you have on the 2026 SAT, the built-in Desmos graphing calculator. The biggest mistake that students make, though, is thinking that Desmos will solve everything for them. Desmos will make you faster when solving problems, but you must already have strong foundations in the 4 core concepts. Once your foundations are strong, any question that deals with the calculations, functions, mean, median, and standard deviation will be solved instantly. Don't rely on Desmos for getting a high score. Rely on it to deal with time constraints. And that's it. Every major topic on the 2026 SAT Math section. The test covers a lot of ground, but none of it is impossible. It's all stuff you've seen in school. The difference between a good score and a great score comes down to practice and knowing what to expect. If this video helped you, consider subscribing to Math Fleet and book your next tutoring session. Good luck on test day. You've got this.